Hi everyone, I'm your Gaurav here and welcome back to the last lecture of Java. But anyhow, this is the last lecture but we will have lots of content. Lots of content in terms of whatever the hard work we put throughout this journey. Okay? In this topic or in this lecture, we will cover wrapper classes, important thing. And also people say like Java is object-oriented programming language. One of my interview once asked me that it's Java purely object-oriented. So the answer was no. Java was not purely object oriented. You know what was the reason? That answer I'll give you with the help of wrapper classes today. Okay, I'll tell you how wrapper classes plays a very crucial role to make a Java complete object oriented programming language. Okay, then we will understand how Java handles the memory, how garbage collector works, like GC. I haven't mentioned here, but we'll cover the GC. Also, we'll understand that once we have this entire 7 days of series, what other topics I need to explore by myself, right? Because anyhow, that entire interview prep, sometimes people ask very advanced topics are very rare. Those are not really relevant, but sometimes you have to cover. So those topics, I'll give you the list name. Also, you will have a dedicated interview cheat sheet. So if you're preparing for a core Java, in that case, this cheat sheet will help you a lot. Okay. So after that we will have a further roadmap that now, okay, if I am very good with the Java, what else I should do? Okay. Let's move ahead here. And I hope the energy is high for everybody, right? Perfect. So now here I'm telling you one thing. You remember when we were learning the collections? In collections, let's say I'm creating a array list. For example, here I'm writing the syntax for the array list, and here I was writing integer. Correct. Now many of you at that time had thought like it's a normal bad like data type. Right? That's what I'm writing. But that is not true. Here let's say I've given a name as list and it's equals to new array list. So that's something like this was the syntax. Correct? This was the syntax. But here what it is? Is it a data type? No, it's a wrapper class. It's a what? It's a wrapper class. It's a wrapper class. And because of this, only Java is purely object oriented. Otherwise, if we have the data types, you remember for integer we were using int, for boolean we were using boolean, right? And again for character we were using char. So these things were not the objects. So in Java there's something which are data types, which are not the objects, which are not the classes, right? That is the thing. They are not the object, they are not the classes. So how we can say Java is purely object oriented? So Java is not, but with the help of wrapper classes, Java is purely object oriented, which means that at the place of int I can easily write integer, this thing. So which means that if I want to write an integer data type, I can have a integer wrapper class, which will make my Java completely object oriented. Making sense to everybody, right? And that's why. And now somebody will ask me, sir, I can use an int within this array list. No, you cannot. This is a collection. Either it requires a class or an object. So that's why we're passing here integer as a wrapper class. Okay, and that's why these collections will work. Maybe it's in terms of hash set or in terms of hash map or array list, right? You have to put a wrapper class. You have to put a wrapper class, and that's why you need them. Okay, and how they're different? They are not actually different. They also work in the same way as data types works, but the thing is, they will have their own utility methods. For example, I want to do, before what happening before Java 5 came in picture, that time people were doing manually unboxing and unboxing. Boxing was something where we are converting a normal data type to a wrapper class object. That was called as boxing. What we were doing is that we are writing, let's say, integer, then you write, let's say, object, any variable name is equals to, and then you were writing integer dot value of something, let's say, a string or something, anything, right? So what you're trying to do is that you're trying to convert a normal variable to a wrapper class. That was a boxing. And when you want to get the value back from a wrapper class to integer, that's unboxing. That's a unboxing, right? So these things people were doing before Java 5, but after that it became automatically. So now you can normally write it, but still you have utility method. For example, if I want to convert a string to integer, so I can write here integer, let's say the value or something. Well, here I can write integer dot parse int, integer dot parse int. So let's say I had a string type number and what I want to pass here. So that will be converted to the integer value, right? So normally now after Java 8 or after Java 5, we have the modern Java that can easily handle it. So if you write here like this, and let's say b1 and you write bell, so it normally works. Not a problem. Right? It automatically handles the unboxing and boxing thing. I hope you're making sense to everybody that now you have the answer that why Java is fully object oriented, but what is the thing available which makes Java not a fully object oriented, which is the normal data types. But at the place of normal data types, we can use the wrapper classes, right? And they will have their own methods, utility methods. For example, a toString, parse in like this thing, parse int or something. All these methods. So go and explore them in very detail. But now you have at least an idea what is a wrapper class, right? And is Java is completely object oriented or not. So that idea you have in your brain. Perfect. So now here the next topic we will understand how Java handles the memory. And tell me in the chat, that is this topic clear to everybody? Why Java is purely object oriented, and if somebody says there is an exception, then what is the exception? That because of data types, it's not completely object oriented. So that answer you have, the better framed answer for your interview. Perfect. So now here memory management in Java, how Java handles the memory. So there are two things. One thing is that in every family there are two kind of people. One kind of people those always come and they make a chaos or make a mess in the room. There are different kind of people those try to clean the room, right? So means the overall idea is that one will try to occupy the space, another will try to free it, right? So that's how this works. So there are two things. One is the memory that we will understand. Okay, but this has multiple categorization, but I'll tell you the major parts. The minor parts I'll already told you in the previous lectures that how you'll understand about the string pool, other things, but I'll give you a quick reference here. Okay, another thing is that who will clean it, the cleaning process who will do, right? Two things whenever it comes, in terms of memory management, because you want to occupy the space in a better way, right? And second thing, you have to clean it, right? Once it is used, you have to clean it. So that's what we also have to do. Perfect. So now in this memory basically we categorize in two parts, but still we have multiple parts in it. I'm just telling you the major parts. All those parts will come within them. So now we have two parts. One is the heap memory, second is the stack memory. Okay. One is the heap memory, second is the stack memory. So I'm saying this is a heap memory, let's see. This is a heap. And this is a stack memory. So I hope now everybody knows one thing, how stack works. Right, you know that concept. That how this stack works. Stack works on the concept of LIFO, last and first out. LIFO. I guess that you'll learn in the data structure part, but anyway, just to give a quick reference. So basically what this stack will store, what this heap will store. Whenever we create a normal variable, so all the static variables will be stored in this stack memory. One thing. Second thing, reference of the objects will be stored in the stack memory. All the method calls, whatever we do, you probably, I guess everybody has seen one problem like memory overflow. How this comes when you try to call a multiple time, you're doing recursion and you don't have a base condition, right? You will have a stack overflow error. How this happens, right? Because every method call which we do, that has been stored in this particular stack. So here all the method calls will put here. Okay, getting my point? Right, all the method calls will come in this stack memory. So now what is the use of this heap? For the dynamic memory. So here somewhere I'll write here, this is for the dynamic memory. Dynamic means whenever we try to create some memory with the help of new keyword. So that's a dynamic memory, because that we try to occupy the space when it comes to the runtime, not at the compile times. All these things are works on the compile time. Means the stack memory will be occupied at the compile time, right? And this heap memory at the runtime, right? So here you will have all the data and all the references of the object you had. Now that value will be stored here in this. And somewhere there is a one portion we call it string pool. So whenever in Java you try to create a string, that basically stores itself in the string pool within the heap memory. So there's a string pool also. And what eventually will happen if you try to add a similar string, that will not take a new space. That will be stored in this string pool to referencing with the previous value. For example, if I have a string hello, then again I have a string hello. Will they have a different spaces? The answer is no. The one pointer, the one string name will have the reference to that particular memory, and again the next will come and that will have the address of the previous one, because hello is already occupied the space. They will not repeat it, Okay, but whenever you try to create a string with the help of new keyword, it takes a new space. And that's why you remember when you were doing normal string, double equals was able to compare them. Right. But when it comes to the new keyword, when you're trying to create the memory with the help of new keyword, let's say string str is equals to new string, and then I put hello, and one string is string str2 is equals to hello. Both of them are equal. The answer is no, they are not if you will try to compare with them. Then you remember in string we had used dot equals method that you have to use. But that is the concept of string pool. So remember to go through it once by yourself. That what is string pool, how this works. But I'm giving you one hint, and probably those have an idea, they already understood it. Perfect. Yeah. So now heap will be for the dynamic memories, and we'll say the data of the objects or the classes that will be stored here, and all the static data will be stored in the stack memory. Perfect. But how this cleaning process works? So cleaning process works with the help of garbage collector, GC we call it, GC. So there are multiple variations now. Java is having a more advanced and new generation GC, right? That works differently, but anyway, they have the same process. We call it an algorithm mark and sweep. What mark and sweep? Mark and sweep. So that algorithm basically what it does is it will try to scan the entire heap and stack memory. In stack memory, it will check all the reference of the object and all the variables, and it will see that how many of them are in use. Those are in use, let them be, right? But if something is unused, they do not have the reference, then garbage collector will clean it from the memory. A garbage collector will clean it from the memory with the help of mark and sweep. So what it will do is that it will scan one by one. It will mark like something is used, okay. If something is not used, mark like in any other way, right? They have some different system to mark it, but they will mark in some way, right? So something for the used, something for the not used. And again, in the sweep process, those are not in the use, the garbage collector will remove them automatically. But there are also some consequences of the garbage collector, that sometimes whenever this process performs, your program, performs slowly because your heap memory becomes slowly to access. But stack and sweep, he both have the fastly accessible memory within the JVM. But the thing is, whenever this process happens, this becomes sometimes slow. So that can be one consequences, but very good process which handles automatically. Well, in case of C++, you have to do it manually. One advantage that Java has, right? Perfect. Yeah. So I hope now so far you're very clear with the stack memory and the heap memory. That stack memory will store all the non like static variables, all the method calls, right? All the reference of the objects, while heap memory will store the object values, right? And the dynamic data, dynamic data wherever we are creating with the help of new keyword. So that will be stored in the heap memory. Making sense? Yes or no? Tell me in the chat. Is this making sense to everybody? I hope it is. Right. So now, yeah, now the thing is, yeah, these were the few important topics which were left, and I wanted to cover in the last lecture. But now, which topic you need to explore? I don't know. Java is very vast. Trust me, Java is very vast. So core Java probably we have done 100%, but there will be some topics which were probably not important in that much, but you can have exploration. Few examples I'll give. You should explore them, like math functions, how you utilize the math function. So there will be few math like math.min to get out the minimum value, math.max, math.apps. Right. So try to use them, math functions. Try to use it. And date you can try to use. Okay, date object, how this work, try to use it. Data object, how this works. Okay, also I've given you the reference of boxing and unboxing. So try to, and how auto boxing, auto unboxing works. Try to figure out all these concepts. And after that, if you have very good understanding in Java, you can go ahead in a path which we call Spring Boot. We call it Spring Boot. Basically, this is for the backend development, but people are having really good salaries. Those are having a knowledge of Spring Boot. They have high demand. So you can learn Spring Boot, right? That probably will help you a lot in getting a good job. And after that, I'll give you the further roadmap also, don't worry. And then remember to prepare the DSA. So now if you have very good understanding, now you understand the language, it's time to learn data structures and algorithm in very detailed manner if you want to, crack a good packages. So remember to learn DSA after this in Java. Very nice idea. And probably those will follow, they will have a massive success. Perfect, yeah. Now here, as I promised that I will give you a dedicated cheat sheet for the interview prep. So here the cheat sheet, you can take the screenshot of this these entire questions. There are probably 60 questions in this slide, so I'll show you one by one. One thing for the basics that people can ask. So these are the basics, like what is Java, how JVM, JDK, and JRE internally works, right? What makes it a platform independent, the Bora principle. You remember we covered in the lectures, right? In the second, memory and execution model, how these things work, you have to understand. Okay, like look at this garbage collection, how this work, right? Again, what data types and variables, these few important questions, if you know them, you're good to go. Again, oops concept here, 4 pillars of oops. You remember I told you COAPI. You remember COAPI? COAPI. C for class, E for encapsulation, O for object, A for abstraction, P for polymorphism, and I for inheritance. Right, you remember we covered already. Right, and again, what are the difference between abstraction and encapsulation? Also, if we could, do abstraction with the abstract classes, why we have interfaces, all these questions, remember to explore them. Okay, then keywords and access control, very important topic, remember to explore. Next thing, functions and variables, very important. In Java we call functions or methods, so you can say methods and variables, something in this way. Okay, so remember, like, what is the difference between static and non-static? You remember when we need to create an object, when we can directly access it. So remember to revise that particular thing. Exception handling, also one of the most important topic in Java. So remember to explore all these questions, answer. Okay, perfect. Now strings, remember to have the comparison between string builder, buffer. I told you this is like immutable. Once you have defined, you cannot change it. But string builder and buffer both are changeable. But there is a one important topic we call synchronization. So we'll have the difference here. Search what is synchronization in Java and you will have it. Okay, perfect. Then again, why are strings are immutable in Java? Try to figure out the answers. Any on lectures you know, but try to figure out. Do some googling. Try to figure out that how all these things are working. Differences between double equivalent and dot equals. Right. Anyway, we discussed in the string pool concept, but you can have exploration by yourself. Object and class operations. Try to get the understanding of these methods. Okay. What is silo and deep copy? Try to figure it out. Perfect. Now after that, here what came in Java after Java 8 means modern Java. So basically try to learn about Lambda function, try to learn about the collections, try to learn about the stream API, all these things. They're not super important, but still they have really good role. So if somebody is asking you in very detail, they can have this level of discussion. So try to explore by yourself. Again, collections and data structures, that is super important. Whenever you're preparing, data structures are super important. But in this entire series, what we have learned the Java core. So these are the questions for the core Java, not for the DS. But you have to remember that DS is still pending, which you need to learn. Awesome. Other essential questions, you can try all these things just written. I know they are some repeated, but you can have more common thing. So go here and figure out the answers. If you're able to answer everything, trust me, you're already ready for the Java placement. Perfect. Perfect. Now here, what is the further roadmap here? So now I'll tell you, you know Java, correct now? Try to learn DSC. You're ready. Once you have this, you're ready for the big companies, right? Like Google or Amazon. Again, try to learn basics of system design, right? For if you are really working, you have experience of 2 to 3 years or 1 year, you're not fresher. In that case, system design becomes crucial for you. So try to learn system design and other concepts. System design. Okay. And also that you can explore the concept of computer networks, operating system, all these things. That will help you in the placement for the better rules. Okay. After that, if you are really have now good understanding, you can move to the Spring Boot for the backend development in Java itself. Spring Boot. So that will help you a lot. And I hope you are in this entire journey. And I really want to appreciate. I want to appreciate everybody who was very dedicated in this entire series. And do let me in the comment how you liked it or not, right? What the thing you really loved about the series. And trust me, if you are having this entire understanding of this entire series, you're almost for the placement ready. But what you have to do is that you have to practice by yourself. If I ask you that in my childhood, somebody has told me how to walk, right? How to walk. They told me that, that what I can do is that I can move my legs and I will walk. If I only heard them, tell me, would I be able to walk anyway? The answer is no, right? Probably not. right? What I had done is that I tried to walk by myself, right? By seeing the other people. I practiced a lot. Probably I fall down the ground multiple times, then I again stand up and again I tried. Right, that was the process. But what I did, I put the efforts. I was ready to fail. So that's what you have to also do. Right now, you know the concepts. Only then you will have the maturity in your brain once you will practice a lot. Try to give more and more interviews. No matter how many times you fail, you just need one chance to get success. Right. So try to have in that way. But anyway, I really want to thank again to everybody those who are watching the series. One last thing, that if you are not getting the previous videos, so go to the Prepensta. Okay, Prepensta YouTube channel. There you will get a Java placement series for 7 days. So I'll search for Prepensta YouTube and I will get somewhere YouTube, YouTube, and somewhere I'll get that particular thing. Okay, so I'll just stop the sound. Probably that may come. So here you can see na Java for placement in 7 days. Try to go through the series. For aptitude, you can like go through this entire series for the aptitude by the Bank sir, for DSA Babab sir, and again for DSA good problem solving practice. There is also one thing which is not complete, but anyway enough for the basic understandings. This lead code series 150 days. You can refer this thing. Very good series for having a good lead code profile. And after that, you can try 150 not out prep and stack questions. These are DSA questions. You can refer them, right? They will boost your preparations, probably the 100x, right? And you will have good chances to crack the interviews. And I hope you really enjoyed it. Those who want to upskill themselves, they can refer one good thing, which is Prepensta Prime. So search for Prepensta Prime, go there, refer them. Prepensta Prime, go here. So it's basically Netflix of coders. So have a subscription, keep enjoying learning, and wishing you all the best. Thank you again. Thank you everybody to watch this entire series and put such hard work and effort. I really appreciate. Bye bye to all. See you in the next series, whatever is coming, if that is possible. Bye bye to all. Have a good day.